Welcome to the Marshall News and Views Show. I'm Elaine Conyers, and my guest today is Jamie Lanners, who is the manager of the Boulder Creek Memory Care unit, which is part of Boulder Estates here in Marshall. And it has been open now for residents a little over a year, right?
Yep.
And I think you're pretty full already, aren't you?
Yeah, we have 23 residents right now
Okay.
out of the 31. So we have a
Okay.
few openings.
Yeah. So, well, good.
Getting there.
But anyway, she's been doing this, and then we have other units in Marshall too. Part of the Heritage Point, they have a memory care, and let's see, does the hospital has one, right, too?
They have just the nursing home.
Oh, just the nursing home. Okay.
Yep.
But so it's interesting that memory care has become very important in today's world, and especially Alzheimer's. And there is a national group called Act on Alzheimer's, and that is very active throughout the nation because we have people are living longer, plus the baby boomers are getting old, and so we're going to experience a lot more stress for these people and for the community and the caretakers because this is just such a growing disease. And Marshall received an $18,000 grant from the state of Minnesota, a couple months, 2-3 months ago. Wasn't it?
It's been a while.
Is it?
It's March 2014 already.
Excuse me.
No, it's just gone so quick.
I know, and we've been so
Yes.
busy and doing so many things. But these memory care unit people, like Jamie, are on this committee to not only look at and help caregivers, but also one of our first things that we were supposed to do was to educate the general community. And so we did some programming, but that didn't turn out quite as well as some of the other areas that we've worked in, because I think that most everybody thinks, well, why do I need to know about this? And I know I talked with several people, especially with the city government. You know, it's you have to recognize what it is, and then react in a kind way. If someone comes into a bank and say, I don't know, and yelling and say, I don't have any money in the bank, what did you do with it? Instead of laughing at him or scolding him, you sit down and you start from the beginning and calm him down and explain everything, because that's part of the reactions that Alzheimer patients have.
Yep,
And so
true.
we did some of that, but now your committee is also working with the caregivers themselves. And I know you just recently had a big event here in Marshall for those caregivers, and anybody else that really wanted to come.
Yep.
And that was very successful. You had a well-known speaker. Tell me about that event, because that was pretty huge, I think.
It was wonderful. So
Yeah.
it was a regional event that we brought nationwide speaker Jolene Bratke to Marshall, and actually the reason we brought her is she's wrote the book Creating Moments of Joy.
Okay.
And if you haven't read it, it's a wonderful book, and it's great for caregivers, great for professionals, anyone that wants information of dementia or dementia. Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Very practical techniques and very useful techniques for the families. She now lives in Montana, but she actually has roots in Marshall.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that was cool
Yeah.
to bring her back here. She was someone that helped with the memory care unit at the nursing home when they first opened. So
okay.
she worked on design and worked there. So it was really interesting to bring her back to Marshall since she started in Marshall.
She actually started here. Wow.
Yep, so that was really neat. But the event was wonderful. We
Yes.
had around 157 people, 160 professionals, caregivers. It was wonderful.
Yes. I know there were several people that I talked to that were in charge of these memory units and so on, and they just bragged about this, and they said they learned so much, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful that there is that information, and then that you're getting it out to the region.
Yep, and the biggest thing that she pointed out is education to caregivers.
Okay.
And how to get educated and why it's important to, as a caregiver, to become educated.
Yes.
She's rewriting her Creating Moments of Joy book.
Oh, she is?
Yep, to even be more specific to caregivers.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to put any input, she's asking for input from any family members, friends, anybody about if you have any input on the topics of when you notice the first signs your friend or your loved one had some memory issues or some form of dementia.
Sure.
So you can email her if you'd like, and her email is jolene@enhancedmoments.com.
Okay.
So
Now, this book that she has written, is that available for the general public? Where would you get that?
Yep, I would say I know Amazon has it available. I don't know locally if there's anyone that has them, but I would say online is your way to go.
Yeah.
And through her website, enhancedmoments.com, you can get it too.
Sure. Well, that's great. So you've been doing a lot of things in the area, and especially Marshall, and besides just having these programs to educate people. I know that you started, the last time you were here, we talked about how you have connected with the YMCA.
Yeah.
Tell us about that again.
It's going great. It started off a little slow. You know, it's still working out how the program will be and making sure we do correct exercises and also informing people of getting the word out about the program, because it's hard as a caregiver to know that day I'm going to take my loved one out. Is it going to be okay? You know, you never know until that day how that person is going to be, your loved one. So to know that, don't be afraid. It doesn't matter if they act out. You know, the staff is trained in dementia. There are people there that are also trained in dementia. And everyone knows that there may be situations that arise because things are unpredictable with dementia. So come out. I recommend to come out and try the program. We're going to continue it next year too. Okay. So that's neat. And it's the second Friday of the month at 10 a.m.
Oh, okay. So. And then this is, the caregiver brings their loved one with us, and then they exercise together?
Yep.
Great.
Yep. And it's even, I recommend, even if you want to come as a it's really for anybody too, but the focus is knowing that there may be people in there that act out or do something that's out of the ordinary, but it's okay. Sure. You know, it's a place that they can be themselves, they can be a part of the community, they can be involved and feel okay. Yeah, yeah.
And then they're doing that caregiver and the person, the patient, I should say, they're doing something fun together. They're going out, they're doing something fun.
Being involved together.
Yeah, right.
Yep, and around others that in the same situation, so it's really good for them all. Yeah. And it's been, the ones that have showed up, it's been a great experience for them. The review, or the evaluations have been wonderful. The first part is the exercise, so there is movement, so you're getting that movement. And then the second part of it is a structured social time. Oh. So it was intended for if the caregiver wants respite time, they can leave their loved one there, and then the caregiver can go take a break. But actually the caregivers have stayed, and it's been a lot of fun. We've done anything from adult coloring to we did a sing-along. We had a band come in and did a sing-along.
Oh, wonderful.
And different art techniques that we've done, and it's been great.
I'm sure that
They have
sounds...
enjoyed it. And we, of course, have beverages and a snack.
Sure, there.
That doesn't hurt, a little
No.
coffee.
Oh, okay. I want you to explain to us. So we're talking about dementia, and we're talking about Alzheimer's, and the connection there is that dementia is a broad thing. Tell me, then, how does Alzheimer's fit into that?
Alzheimer's, so if you think of dementia like the term cancer, there are many forms of cancer.
Okay.
So dementia is the same thing. There are many forms of dementia. So right now there are over 50 different dementias, and they're probably figuring more.
Oh
than,
my gosh.
there are
Yeah.
a lot of different types. But there are 4 main types. Alzheimer's is your number 1, and then you have vascular, you have Lewy body, and then you have frontal temporal that are your top 4 types.
And what are they like then? But it all has to do with memory, is that right? The vascular?
Yep, it all has to do with how it affects the brain. So they're all brain diseases.
Okay, yeah.
And I think everyone should look at that as a brain disease versus like, they just have memory loss.
Yeah.
Or there's more to it than just memory loss. Yeah. So if people start looking at dementia as a disease, as, that it's affecting the brain, and people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like how the professionals and the doctors say on it is, it would be nice if everyone, like the brain is shrinking because it's affecting it.
Okay.
Is if the head could shrink with the brain, then everyone would understand.
Oh, yeah.
You
right,
know,
they
how
could see
to
it.
react to that person
Yeah.
because of the level that they're at. But
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way.
No.
So that's
I remember, years when I was a child, they would talk about, if we went visiting someone, and the grandma there is senile. That's the word they used. But it was the same thing in the sense that it was memory loss.
Yep, and mental illness is different than dementia, so that is very for people to understand that.
Yes,
It's 2 different things.
Yeah.
So many people wanted to just say it's a mental illness, but there is no way. It's the deterioration of the brain.
Yeah.
So.
And from what I've read, there is really no cure for it at this point, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's correct. So it's that's a sad part of it. And it's hard.
Is there something that will slow it down? Any medication that will slow it down or anything like that?
There's medication they give for Alzheimer's or dementia per take. Namenda and then Aricept are 2 types. Everybody has a different take on it, of how it works and what it does. I'd say nothing really slows the progression.
Oh.
One comparison I heard about them are they kind of like cold medicine. They mask the symptoms.
Oh.
So it's like it's not going away, but it's masking like a cold. You take cold medicine to mask, but the symptoms are, you still have a cold.
Yeah.
You still have the virus.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Well, we certainly hope that technology will become better. They'll discover more ways of treating this.
Yeah, and it'll be neat. In Jolene's book, she's looking into those Alzheimer's dementia medications and getting some feedback from professionals on. So I'd say look for that. She's really excited to look at the pros and cons of it. And I know we talked about it when we were at the meeting, and she brought that topic up. And a lot of caregivers, they said, is the medication really for the family versus the person? And that will be Jolene's, I think, to come to the bottom of what is.
Okay.
And for someone to actually take a look at it and to get the research behind it and find out. Is it worth it?
That's right. Wow, that's interesting. Well, now some of the other things that you've got going then, tell me, well, we've got the YMCA, and then are you doing something about education for doctors? Is that right?
That has always been on the radar. So I know through Act on Alzheimer's and Wilmer, I know they did a doctor education or physician education through ACMC.
Oh, okay.
But the neat thing is they do have, through ACT, there is a webinar that's available. So we tried to get the physicians together, but that can be difficult.
Sure.
They're very busy,
yes.
organize anything
Right.
is hard. So there is a webinar that they can go on, the Minnesota Medical Association, to view the webinar, the education that Terry Barclay would present to a group.
Okay.
And that the website's mnmed.org, and you can get a certificate, the CME certificate, and that is through May 14th, 2017.
Oh.
So it's, I think the title is Act on Alzheimer's Education, or the event is it, to find the webinar.
Okay.
But if anyone wants more information on it or can't find it, they can surely contact me.
Sure.
So.
No, that's great. And what is this art stage? Or not stage? Is a SAG?
Sage.
Art stage. That is that. Tell me about that.
So that is a program that we're hoping to bring. It's going to be focused on art and dementia. So we're hoping to get it set before March. We haven't set a date yet, but mixed with that, we'll do a community meeting update too on how the grant went and what we're working on in the future. But Art Stage, what focus on, it would be an all-day event, and it would be workshops on it. It would be for anybody that's interested in art education for working with people with dementia. So it'd be senior living, any professional, any art, any community members that are interested, that have loved ones at home, they want more education on it. So.
And you're already doing a little bit of this at the YMCA, like you say, with that art. I visited a family up north not too long ago, and then they wanted me to go through the memory unit because they were so impressed what the patients were doing. In the wall, in the hallway, were covered with art pieces, and I thought, what a wonderful thing for these people that are suffering from this disease. They can make something beautiful, and they can feel that they really accomplished something. So it's a good way of.
It is. It's been even amazing we've started to do more art at Boulder Creek, and people that have never enjoyed art, especially my grandma, she hates art, not do it. Like, she wants to be involved in it and make stuff with the resident or everyone else, and it's like, it is neat to see ones that never had an interest in it. Now they're like, making these neat things and putting them on the walls, and it is great for them and great.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
They look forward to it. It's awesome.
So, and I know that you have brochures out there. I have seen some of them, and they're very well done, and that helps educate the community also, more so the community, so that they become more aware of this disease. So that's very good. And so, well, you're busy. You've got a lot of things going on, and we've got, we talked about this before. We've got 3 places in town. The one that I missed there was the Hill Street place.
Well, that one is an independent living. So these are. So we are educating on Dementia Friends, different places in town.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yep. So we offer those Dementia Friends sessions, and what that is a 60-minute session. Talking about how to communicate, the basics about dementia, and kind of the statistics of why we're doing it, and it empowers people to become a volunteer and to learn more about dementia, and if they run into them in person. So we're doing in the residential settings, because they're more than likely going to run into someone, and instead of being mean or saying not very nice things about them, they can say, can I help you with that, or offer the help that they need. So with some of those things.
That's great. And
but we're also in that we're looking at doing educating all of the sectors that we started out with when we interviewed and surveyed them all. So we want to educate each sector. So what that is: residential settings, government agencies, senior service providers, education institutions, nonprofit organizations, businesses, financial and legal planning, service clubs, faith communities, and wellness.
Okay.
So we've done quite a bit of them. We still have a few different
Sure.
areas we're working on throughout the year.
And that's such a good idea. I think when we first started to bring the community to a meeting place, people are busy and they're working. It was hard for them to do that. But one time we went to the law enforcement center, and we didn't get everybody because so many of them were working, of course. But we got those patrolmen that were not on duty, so to speak. And I thought that's such a good way of doing it, and there is another group of people that need to be educated. Everybody needs to be educated on this.
Does.
But that's such a good idea to go to that area and talk to those people there.
Yeah. And the neat thing is actually ACT is taking a step further with Dementia Friends, and they're going to involve becoming dementia-friendly businesses.
Oh.
So this is a new thing that's coming out. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard about it now. And so businesses can go through this session and learn how to help their environment, how to train their employees, to provide the customer service to the client that may have dementia, and even signs to look for.
Oh, yeah.
That there's so many people living in the community that may not have family around here, but we know who their family is, that if we notice something a little different, or our loved ones buying in bulk at a grocery store, we have we'll just give a friendly call to the family and say, you might want to check on your mom or your loved one. She's starting to buy excessive amount of things. Maybe something's going on.
Yeah.
So just looking out for each other.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's all about being dementia-friendly community.
Right. Yeah. So this, obviously, the Act on Alzheimer's committee that you're on received this grant, but there's other grants that are coming to the area also.
Yep.
So it's just not a one-time thing. I'm glad to see that that's continuing, so that education continue with it. So
it is. So hopefully we applied for a grant for next year. I haven't heard how it turned out yet, but we want to do the same work that we continue on this.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will be approved for that grant, and I'm sure.
Yeah, that is great. I didn't even realize till this came along that our state government did give out funds like that. It's usually roads and bridges.
Yep, that's so true.
Yeah.
And the neat thing is ACT will continue to expand in Minnesota. So we can't reapply for continuing grant money through ACT, but it'll be through the legislative has money they set aside for dementia.
Oh, they have, yeah.
So they'll keep adding dementia-friendly communities through that act, but then they'll also have the second grant money that people that have already been in the grant process can apply for.
Sure.
So which is neat, because we're up to, I think, 33 dementia-friendly communities. We were one of the original 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, in the state you're talking about.
In the state,
yep. Wow.
Yep.
That is interesting.
Yep,
So, boy, that's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it is great.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should talk a little bit about some of the signs, maybe, of dementia.
Yeah, we can do that. I wanted to bring up this card, too. One other thing. We just released, it's these business cards that caregivers can have. It says, "The person I'm with has dementia. Please be patient." So thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh, nice.
And then on back it says a little bit about dementia.
Okay.
So if you're at a restaurant or something, you can pass it. I know people have used it and pass it to the waitress and say, without more discreet without saying, my loved one has dementia, which they won't even understand what that means.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Most people. So that's
a good idea. Yeah.
Going to be doing. Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know about that.
And if anything else that you have there, that be sure, just let us know. And
but you want to go over the signs?
If that's what you,
work.
Why don't we do a little bit of that?
So the number one sign, these are from the Alzheimer's Association, Know the 10 Signs. The first one is memory loss that disrupts daily life. So that would be forgetting something you recently learned. Other things need lots of reminder notes and need to be told over and over again. Something that's typical is something you forgot to go to an appointment.
Oh, yeah.
But then you remember later because that's normal aging. So that happens to us all.
Yeah.
Another one is challenges in planning or solving problems. This would be hard to work with numbers, balancing budgets. Someone that typically did the checkbook is now writing checks wrong or doing something. Occasionally we make an error in a checkbook, but it's not so, that's just minor. But if it's continuously happen or you forget how to write a check, those are things that I would.
Yeah.
So that would go with the next one. Difficulty completing familiar tasks at home, at work, or at leisure. So kind of the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
If you're doing house tasks, or how about like toast? You forget how to make toast. That's something that can happen too. Or forget how to use the microwave. So those are some things.
Or forgetting to shut the burner off or something like that. Yeah.
So those kind of things. Another one is confusion with time or place. So if you are driving out, this is common that you start driving and you're heading to a destination, then you forget where you're going.
Oh, yeah.
Those kind of things, or forget trouble understanding something that happens. So I always say with this, so many people are like, well, I don't remember the day of the week, but that is typical when you're retired, because every day is Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I always give that one if they forget the day of the week, because when I was on maternity leave, you don't need to know the day of the week.
Right.
Really, if it's every day is Saturday, then trouble understanding visual images and spatial relations. They start to have trouble with the eyesight. Some people do have macular degeneration, but it's different. You start seeing out here, or you start, if you're crossing a threshold, you pick up your feet more because you feel like you're stepping in a hole, those kind of things. So if you have trouble.
Yeah.
Then new problems with words and speaking. Sometimes you have troubles finding your words. You lose track of your sentence. So those kind of things. Like occasionally I have too. Sometimes we have that, but it's different when you can't figure out the conversation you're having. If you're in the middle and then can't continue. I'll just go over the other ones quick. Misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace steps, decreased or poor judgment, withdrawal from work or social activities. That one is a huge one. Once you start withdrawal, I highly recommend you look at losing that socialization is hard on people and makes deterioration happen a little bit quicker.
Sure.
And then lastly is changes in mood and personality to look at.
Well, there's a lot of stuff there to keep track of, but thank goodness for people like you that are working on this now and helping the community as well as caregivers. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you
and
so
we
much.
appreciate, and I'm sure we'll have you back.
Yeah, thank you, Elaine.